Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗂. Today guys, we're going to be diving into the world of Polkadot to specifically talk about the price action of DOT. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗂. With all that said, done out of the way, let's dive right into this technical analysis on Polkadot. So we're going to start things off, guys, with this daily chart. Okay, so what I really want to talk about is the recent kind of push that we've had to the upside and what we might be expecting to see happen next for Polkadot. So it's been a couple of days since I last did a video, and this is basically where we were talking about getting rejected from our 618 and going down to our $33 support level, okay? And what we're seeing today is a push to the upside. And I'm going to go through what we might expect to happen for the rest of today and going into Sunday before Monday comes around. And obviously, I don't think we are likely to push up. And I'm going to show you why I think this. I think actually we're more likely going to have another correction. Not a deep one, but enough to maybe bounce from the 618. And I'm going to go through that in a moment with you guys. But overall, we have a good kind of correction from the previous high that we had up in May, okay, and also going all the way down in that fourth wave correction to the 20th of July. This current performance that we've seen has allowed us to put this Fibonacci retracement tool on there, where we do see a 4.236 extension coming in at $177. Okay, so basically that's kind of our price expectations for Polkadot for this bull run as we finish things off towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. Okay, so basically just taking in the previous high, the low of our fourth wave correction, and a good push to the upside. Now, obviously, once we get past the 618, the 702, the 786 on the charts, okay, these are the key technical areas for Polkadot. That basically comes in, if I actually get my prices right for you guys, because I'm going to try to get better at actually calling out these prices for you guys. So $34.77 is the 618. And then as we go up, the 702 is $38.15. And then obviously the main area that we want to get that close candle above comes in at $41.40, okay? So that $41.37 technically is the 786 area of the chart, right? So that's the one that we're looking to get that closed candle above. That will then take us into new all-time highs, where the first price target that's associated with that is $74.19. This is the 1.618 area of the Fibonacci retracement tool. Okay, the second extension, the 2.618, comes in at $113.64. Okay, the third 3.618 comes in at 153, with the 4.236 is $177. So there's good price expectations with Polkadot, and I do think this ecosystem is just heating up. I've said this a few times already, but our inbox is absolutely full of projects that are looking to launch on the Polkadot ecosystem and are looking for promotional content. Now, obviously, we turn down 99.9% of promotional content. We don't like to do it unless we've actually done a lot of research on those projects and obviously understand everything inside and out before we communicate it across to you guys. Obviously, my point here is that although we might reject a project, other YouTubers, other influencers across the space might not reject those projects, and therefore there's going to be an influx of promotional content hitting not just YouTube, but Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, across the social medias. So with that will come a swirl of new retail investors or, etc., just trying to dive into Polkadot as a whole, right? So I am expecting some kind of surge in the coming weeks and months for Polkadot, and I do expect some good price discovery on the back of it. But with that being said, now does not appear to be the time. I am anticipating a small pullback, and I'm going to go through that with you in just one moment. Now, unlike many of these other altcoins that are actually showing a cup and handle, we don't have the same kind of luxury here when it comes to Polkadot. Okay, there's a sloppy cup and handle, I guess you could say. But again, it's not something I would be confident in looking at it from this particular angle. The left-hand side is far too low than the right-hand side, and the handle, it hasn't really come down deep enough to really be considered a good enough kind of push to the upside. So overall, I think outside of that cup and handle kind of perspective, I do anticipate a good surge towards the upside. But we first of all have a bit of a battling going on just up here within those key areas. Okay, so again, the 618 or $34, the 702 at $38, and of course the main area that we want to get a closed candle above of $41.37, the 786. Okay, so now we have a good grasp of the daily chart. We obviously know that there's a good pullback that I think many people are aware of, and that's allowing us to buy up Polkadot at a much cheaper rate. If I just pull this back down, so this correction just here, and then obviously a good surge in August to the upside. The month of September was the month of corrections. We saw that, and now we started to push back to the upside, and we're tackling a real key area. Now, the Fibonacci retracement tool is obviously quite good to kind of give us a good area of resistance and support, as these are areas that are heavily traded by professional traders or day traders, etc. So these resonate really well with them. So it's important that we obviously acknowledge them, but not always are we going to stop on these levels, and not always are we going to find support or resistance here. Instead, there may be other areas that are in forming different kind of patterns that could also work for us, and we're going to go through some of that as well. Now, the Stochastic Rsi is overbought, so we should be expecting to either stay up here in the overbought area like we were previously in the month of August when we had this good push to the upside, or we'll have to pull that down a little bit, okay? And those are the two ways. Now, we can, of course, wipe out this momentum of our stochastic without actually doing too much damage to the price. You can see this on the chart right now, right? We basically take the price from $29 down to $23, and we completely take that stochastic down from overbought to oversold, okay? And then we can obviously grow back to the upside. So although we're overbought, this has some, it can be something that we actually stay up in the overbought area for quite some time. And when we do need to have that pullback, and we basically can take that momentum out of the project without doing too much price damage, as long as the sentiment is good. And it's at this point that I'm going to bring up the advice.io dashboard. Okay, for those who are unfamiliar, links in the description below. As always, sign up, it's completely free, and you're going to get more insight on your cryptocurrencies. In this particular case, we are taking a look at Polkadot. The overall rating for Polkadot is a B1 rating. This basically means it's on the cusp of being in the top tier, but is quite far away from the worst levels, right? So it's looking pretty good. Now, above and beyond just the generalized rating, we can go down into some detail. These are what they call power factors of I. Here we have an 𝗕𝗢𝗔𝗏 ratio, okay, and this is an A2 rating, so the second best rating that this platform can give. It basically goes from A1 down to D. A1's the best, D is the worst, right? So an A2 rating for the 𝗕𝗢𝗔𝗏 ratio. The 𝗕𝗢𝗔 ratio represents your liquidity. Is there a problem with liquidity? With an A2 rating, it's indicating there are no issues with liquidity for Polkadot right now. So this is looking pretty good. Okay, as we come down, we can see a Sharpe ratio, another A2 rating, the second best rating that you can get. And the Sharpe ratio represents your risk-reward ratio. So right now, with an A2 rating, well above the 50-day average, the rewards significantly outweigh the risks when it comes to holding Polkadot, right? So if you're holding Polkadot, you should be pretty comfortable in seeing the Sharpe ratio that's looking quite favorable. Okay, so this is a key metric that's obviously well worth being paying attention to, because you're going to want to know your tolerance to risk, and obviously this risk-reward ratio in the Sharpe ratio is going to be fantastic for you to understand whether or not holding Polkadot is actually looking pretty good or pretty bad. And this is, again, artificial intelligence led with machine learning, no human intervention whatsoever, and gets updated every 24 hours. So like I said, sign up, check it out, and you're going to be able to basically keep a daily eye on various different things like your risk-reward ratio, liquidity-based problems, profitability, moving averages, etc. Right? Now, over here on the right-hand side, we have a fear and greed index. Not the Bitcoin fear and greed index, not a generalized one you see in the space, but a fear and greed index that is specific to Polkadot. And Polkadot's fear and greed index is a rating of D. And as I said previously, A1 is the best, D is the worst. Therefore, there's an extreme amount of fear in the space for Polkadot right now, which is incredibly odd. And it's odd because we have an A2 rating for our risk-reward ratio. Okay, our risk-reward ratio is indicating that actually you might want to have exposure to Polkadot because the rewards outweigh the risks. Yet, we have an extreme fearful situation where people are willing to sell their Polkadot at a discounted rate. That's the kind of fear that I like to buy. Okay, so it's important that we acknowledge that the fear and greed index for Polkadot is an extreme fear. That also has an implication to the charts, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But obviously, Sharpe ratio means that basically you're able to understand that holding Polkadot's pretty good, according to the artificial intelligence and machine learning of I, and people are willing to sell Polkadot right now. So, you put those two things together and kind of, come up with a pretty good, sensible conclusion. Now, as we move down, A2 for the moving averages. The moving average for Polkadot looks pretty good. No issues with that either. As we come on down, we can obviously see that we have a profitability and ROI of an A1, so again, looking pretty good there. And a peak and value demand at B2, pretty neutral, no issues with that either. So the only thing that's out of place here is that there's an unreasonable amount of fear for Polkadot right now. Everything else is lined up pretty good for Polkadot. So when we jump back to the charts and we can see that we're pushing up towards our 702, we're overbought on our daily. What is going to happen next in the next few hours? Well, let's take a look. Let me just get rid of that for a second and bring this up for you. So we obviously do have some interesting areas, right? We're pushing, we found our support level, like we said previously a couple days ago, and that we're going to come back down towards $33. It seems like a sensible area to be bouncing from. That's why we drew this up. And then basically we've now gone up. We found the resistance on the 618. Okay, that's that $4 range. Okay, we pushed through it. Now we're approaching the 702, but we're heavily overbought right now, and we know that there's extreme fear in the space. Now, if we throw the volumes on here, we can already see that the volumes have been increasing as we push the price up. So that's really helping push us up towards our 702. Now, the volumes have started to drop down. We're losing momentum as we approach the 702. The anticipation here, or my expectations, I should say, is that we're going to reach the 702 or just fall short of it, and then pull back towards our 618. But this time, instead of the 618 being a resistance block, we're going to turn it into a support line. And so basically what we're looking for now, if I actually just go back up to my daily just to get that 702. So it's a $38 range, okay? And if we go back into our hourly, we can see, and I'm just going to mark this up. So let me just grab a horizontal ray, and we'll just mark up our $38 range, right? So, and I'll just change that into orange. Okay, so I think that we are more than likely going to push up towards our 702, if not find the fall short, just short of it, and then pull back to our 618, turn that into a support level. So it could look something like this, and then we break through it, back test on the 702 before having an attempt at the 786, or that 40, what is it, 40... Let me just find it one sec. I want to get my numbers right, guys. I want to get my numbers right. So $41.37, okay? So it's important that we obviously acknowledge what is potentially on the horizon now. Now, with the volumes looking like they're dropping back, that basically means that we're going to run out of momentum. We can still go up, but obviously we're going to plateau and then fall back down because we are overbought. So my expectations will be that we'll find, hit the $38 range, pull down to the $34 range, and then bounce up past $38. Overall, that's the kind of expectation that I do see here until that sentiment in the market shifts and we're actually able to utilize our stochastic more efficiently and actually have a significant push to the upside. But I do think we're only really days, maybe a few weeks away from really pushing past the 786 and going into new all-time highs. Things on Polkadot are definitely heating up now, and everything's coming together quite nicely for this ecosystem. So overall, do expect a little bit of volatility until that kind of fear in the market dissipates. And this is mainly driven just from Bitcoin's indecision as to whether or not it's going to go past its area of 786, which is basically 57.5K. And if we do push past that with Bitcoin, I think that's enough to really get the market moving once again to the upside in a really good, confident way. Until Bitcoin has that move, I think people are really hesitant to get back in the space right now. And as a result, you see this unreasonable amount of fear in the space for various different projects, including Polkadot here. And it's obviously understanding that there's fear here that enables us to take advantage of that as we continue the growth to the upside overall. We can buy that fear, we can buy the Polkadot at a discounted rate and continue the growth to the upside overall. And as we come back to our daily, guys, we obviously do have those price expectations where we are talking about moving up to $177 overall, and everything is moving up nicely towards that goal, but do expect a little bit of volatility until that sentiment does change. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there, but hopefully you have found it useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.